Right. Hmm. Can Jen Jen ask a question today, please? Sure.
What's going on? Long time listener, first time caller.
How you doing today?
Long day.
Yeah, same.
I fell asleep at like 7 last night and woke up at 6 a.m. So I had more sleep than I've had in like a week and a half.
Nice.
And I crashed hard, so I'm ready to go.
The first like 72 hours this week, I slept for 5 hours, and then last night I slept for 4. Yeah. So I feel quite refreshed.
I'm not gonna lie, I feel pretty good. First thing I did when I woke up was did a load of dishes. This is
Nice.
like with kids screaming, getting ready for school, and wanting to eat, and I was really proud of myself for that. Anyway, anybody have a question related to stunts?
They
Or I guess
might.
specifically
Where's
related
Dork?
to, I don't know, maybe he forgot. Maybe he's still having Christmas with his family.
Is that what he's
I don't know. I
doing?
think he does that every week.
Stop
Probably
making me
Christmas
stop
morning.
making me think Dork's Tiny Tim.
You know what? I have no idea if this is true, but I do just sort of imagine Dork is like 5'4".
No.
I've never asked him how tall he is.
I mean, I haven't either, but turn up the volume. Which volume?
I can hear you fine. Is it me?
I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about.
Why don't you turn up your volume then?
I'm plenty loud.
Oh, you're loud. Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I okay?
Yeah, you sound fine.
All right.
I mean, you sound like you just got off like the treadmill, but I assume that's from
Oh,
chasing children around.
I'm walking to the mailbox.
Uh, did you get any mail?
Yeah, I got a replacement pump for my washing machine. The
Are you
drain
gonna
pump
are you
is,
gonna replace it yourself?
yeah.
You're so handy.
Well, I did work for like a year in appliances at General Electric, so
I feel like your
I
job wasn't just fixing them though.
no, but part of the job was taking in competitor units apart and seeing how they
Uh,
work. So, and sometimes we had to put them back together. So I've taken apart and putting back together lots of stuff related to appliances. I fixed like my family's appliance. Like so there's certain parts that go bad, like the on the old, I don't want to say old, on the cheap one, on the cheap dryers for poor people.
mm-hmm.
They don't they don't put in a they don't put in a motor big enough to direct drive the tub. So they put in a
Oh.
smaller motor and then they run the tub with a band, and the band tension, a belt the belt tensioner broke on my brother's a couple years back, and they were freaking out. I was like, I looked it up, $20 part, ordered it there next day. I put it in, and it was handled.
It's, that's I just like whenever I have an appliance that breaks, I just throw it out.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like honestly that's part of the decision process. Unfortunately, it's like, is it worth keeping this appliance? Because it's like, well, it's going to cost me at least $300 to fix it at a minimum. And so it's like, well, shit, I don't come get the mail enough. I forgot what number it is.
I can't tell if Dork's asleep. I guess we should just start taking questions. And then I
thought
guess
we were just waiting for somebody to work up the courage to ask a question.
probably. What is secret penis?
Oh,
Well,
goodness.
hmm. How to best answer this? I mean, well, it's not part of GammaStrike
Yeah, I mean, really,
yet.
the only way to describe it is it's a penis that you learn about too late.
Hmm. Yeah, it's or not known or seen or not meant to be known or seen by others. Hence secretive. Like a clandestine or covert penis.
You need more detail. My favorite thing about finding my unit is that it was actually the first one I tried. The key just needed to be put in at a weird angle.
Oh, here's Dork. Fuck, my neighbor distracted the fuck out of me. I'm sorry. I'll be there in 1 minute.
Is it his old neighbor?
I don't know. We're gonna find out. And ask him if saw him shaving his balls. Get this meeting started off on the right foot.
Yeah, I need more ball shaving memes, please. And thank you.
Are we closer or further from a release date? That's a good question.
We're,
It depends
I mean,
on how often I get involved.
that's got you. Uh, I don't know. Did the pigeon whales think that we're any closer than the last release?
I mean, well, we got the new front end pushed out, which has
Yeah.
been a success.
Well,
Everyone
it's been a
seems to,
success. I haven't really looked. Do people generally like it?
yeah, I think people are pretty happy about it so far.
Well,
It's definitely still very unpolished, but
yeah, yep. But it's going in the right direction.
yeah, it is.
The trajectory that's important.
I've had this shit muted for 3 roundtables. I had to have YouTube open, then type in Discord. Just figured out to undeafen Discord after 3 weeks. This is why we want you to handle our taxes, Cobra. It's that kind of stick-to-itiveness that we really appreciate in our accounting staff.
Yeah, I mean, he stayed on a problem until it was solved for 3 weeks. That's.
Here's Dork.
Yo,
I need to hear. We need to hear all about your neighbor. Is it your old neighbor that shaves his balls on your front lawn?
yeah, it is. I was just getting the mail, and he was talking to me about coyotes or something, and it's how it is. Conversations they just fucking go all over the place.
When I
They have
used to
to.
live
They're
in
awful.
California, I had this neighbor that she was like an old lady, and when I first moved in, she came over, and she had like an entire stack of Polaroid like pictures of her cats that had been mauled to death by coyotes.
What the fuck?
And she used this as like an educational prelude to warning the other neighbors about letting their cats outside.
Good God.
And so
Should have
every
just
time
been like,
someone new moved into like the neighborhood, she would go and like show them her dead cats.
you should have just been like, "What's a cat? Do you
Well, and
have
why are
any
they
Polaroids
Polaroids
to
though? That's the
explain
real
that to me?
question.
What's a
She
Like,
had
coyote?
she had a Polaroid camera.
Does she have any pictures of coyotes in case you didn't know what a coyote was?
She also had
no, just
brochures
the
about
aftermath.
songbirds and protecting the marshlands.
Oh, that's important.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
This is why euthanasia is so important.
It is. Wait, are we talking about cats or
Yeah.
the elderly?
Exactly.
Yes.
It's so important to put down your mom or dad humanely when
When
it's
are
time.
when are we going to fix the names of the indicators that say bullish breakout, etc.? So they are actually talking about bullish breakouts. That's an excellent question.
Here's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to rename them because I named them the thing that's wrong. So somebody else just make up 8 names that you like, and then we'll mull it over.
I mean, it's just that they're just not properly ordered. But we can
Okay.
that's like not hard to fix. Yeah, Carl, go do that.
Yeah, they're definitely not technical analysis though.
Bullish
Although
climax.
I'm glad we convinced Jay Fresh to do TA on the VIX though.
It was secret. It was that actually. Me doing TA on the VIX is a perfect example of a secret penis. For whoever asked what a secret penis was, it's a penis that you realize too late.
As a matter of fact, I've just been biding my time waiting till JFresh is really deeply embroiled in an argument on Twitter, and then I'm gonna chime in asking him about his technical analysis on VIX.
Well, I had like my argument with what's his face, George Robertson, about who was using velocity and who wasn't.
Yeah, because
Extended into today. And
oh
I think
really?
I finally wore him down a little bit.
Have you
Nice.
convinced him that he is doing the wrong math?
I think so.
It's going to be
He's
hard
not
to
ready
do.
to admit it.
He's an old Bond guy. They're impossible to talk to.
Yeah. But I think I was getting through to him a little bit by being persistent
Mm-hmm.
and making my case very clearly and not backing down.
I think he's just confusing it with ratio because of like the structure of the equation.
Nope. He's using velocity by using earnings or GDP.
Okay.
And I would have been fine with that, but then he accused me that my math was wrong because I was using velocity, and that's when I was like, wait a minute, if you think velocity shouldn't be in here, let's have a talk about your units.
Ooh.
Because earnings is how much money did you make over some amount of time, which is a velocity.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact, GDP velocity is not a velocity, it's a frequency.
Yeah.
I hate finance.
Okay. I think you just hate the failed mathematicians who decided to go work in finance for more money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which makes sense. No one likes those guys.
Is anybody going to ask a question, or are we just going to sit here with our secret penises in our hands?
It's not so secret now.
Okay, I got some. I'm doing some busy work right now, so if no one wants to answer any questions, then I can just sit here and idly chit chat with these fools. And
I'm just going to slowly empty the tub on my bird.
Oh, here we go.
Watch
Chasing the wind. Hello.
what's up?
Welcome.
How you doing?
Figuring out the mic, probably.
Probably.
Talking's hard.
Talking is hard.
Come on, guys, no dead space. You know the radio rules.
But there's no soundboard in here, so I can't I can't do anything. Like what the hell?
Tell us more about your old. Tell us more about your old neighbor's balls.
They're very cleanly shaven. He uses a safety razor. He actually we talked about that for a bit. He pulled it out because he had just finished using it, while I was getting the mail.
With or against the grain?
Against the grain, always, dude. If you really want to get that baby soft shave, you got to go against the grain.
Yeah, but then you get when the stubble comes back, it's super itchy.
Yeah.
It is, and you get the ingrowns, but if you just take care of your balls with like a nice routine and use an alcohol-free aftershave, so that way you don't
I
age
hate
as
everything
quickly.
about this.
You should just
Ingrown
wax.
hairs
You
and
should just
aftershave on the
wax your balls. That's the easiest
I
thing
should
in the
just
world.
nair my balls.
Yeah, I was thinking like maybe Nair might be the way to go. Has anybody
Yeah, dude, nair them.
Has anybody in here naired their balls? Can you tell me more
Atomic's
about it?
losing it.
It says specifically on the bottle of Nair not to use it on your balls.
Which means someone has. So I want to talk to that person.
Yes.
There we
I
go.
was telling
Chasing
somebody
the
when
wind
I
is
worked,
back.
I was telling somebody when I worked in the Navy for a little bit. As a civilian, calm down. I am not built for war.
Wait, were you a seaman?
A seaman among a sea of seamen. But one of the trainings we had to do was human trafficking training every year. And my boss was like, they make all these trainings after something happens. So somebody obviously must have been accidentally, without realizing it, trafficking humans. Anyway, what's your question?
Hello, Chasing the Wind.
Chasing the wind. How you doing?
Whenever your mic's working, just let us know by interrupting our weird conversation. So they assumed that you guys were trafficking people, or were you just supposed to be on
Somebody
guard
got
for the
caught.
people
No.
that were recruited or trafficked by recruiters?
Well, it's like anytime something bad happens, like they have to create a training for it for everybody.
Mm.
So you
Okay,
get
I'm
like,
hoping this actually works.
Oh, shit, there we go. Nice.
Fucking A. All right. So
Fucking A, right. You got it.
yeah, look at that persistence. We were just talking about that. No, actually, I accepted and Discord crashed. So I had to relaunch. Anyway, first question is, where in GammaStrike is the chart that tells me when puts cost same like shares? That's what I really want to know.
You son of a
and
bitch.
then I know, you're welcome. No, but seriously, the real question is, thinking about charm and the chart that's there. As a decay function, I'm used to thinking of like and seeing curves, and my mind is really struggling to wrap around how to interpret the existing charm chart on the live data relative, the delta. And so this may be more of a go look this up in a different manual kind of question, but would love to get your thoughts on how I should think about that chart relative to the other things that are on the live data screen. Does that make sense? Because it's a bar chart, but I'm used to thinking of decay functions in terms of curves, and I'm having trouble wrapping my head around that.
okay, so here's the easiest way to think about that charm chart.
Okay.
So pick a bar on the delta graph. The charm graph should be roughly how much of that delta is going to decay over one day.
Right.
That's it. Is that
okay? Yeah. No. Well. No. Okay. Yes. That makes a ton of sense. That's how I would expect that to work. Is the live chart? I guess a better question here is the live chart just stuck to one day, or is that recalculated on a smaller time scale?
That's actually, I don't know the answer to that question. On the live chart, do we just plot the 0DTE or do we do the full chain? Is it just volume or is it OI?
Wait, say that again. Sorry.
The live Greeks by strike.
I believe that is everything. Should be everything.
Is it OI plus volume or just volume?
I believe it is OI plus volume.
That would make sense to me. Then yeah, so it's literally just this is how much delta is going to grow or shrink for that strike today.
Okay, that actually
it's the maximum
helps.
it could grow or shrink.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully I don't think I can make it any simpler than that.
Nope,
The reason that it's not linear over multiple days is that the number of days to expiry goes down.
Mm-hmm.
So like on the last day, all of the remaining delta has to decay. So the decay increases as you get closer to expiration as 1 over
Right.
time.
Mhm.
But yeah, but on the chart, it's basically on a day. This is how much it's going to decay per day.
Okay, that actually makes a lot more sense to me now.
Cool.
Okay, but now that we've answered that, seriously, when do I get my puts cost same like shares widget? Like when is that
Yeah,
coming?
we still have to put in Easter eggs. I don't know. We haven't had the sense of humor yet. We're still kind of trying to build. We have too many important things to build.
Okay.
But I've been thinking a little bit about Easter eggs, where to hide them and what they should look like. But I haven't discussed any of this with the team, but I feel like it should happen eventually. You know, funny story. The same time I was working with Appliances, heard a fun story about the showroom that this was back in, oh God, when was it? 2006, maybe? One of the ovens that was on a showroom floor at some conference, some consumer conference. Apparently, the people who programmed the interface, like the screen on the top, it was a fancy one, so it had like a color screen, touch screen with like a touchscreen LCD, which was really cool back then, I guess. And they had programmed in an Easter egg. If you typed in a very specific set of buttons, it would show like a topless woman. And the person on the showroom floor somehow managed to punch in that exact sequence in front of like the CEO at the time. That was cool.
Nice.
So Easter eggs can come back to bite you, but if you do them tastefully, they can be enjoyed by all.
Well, I'm gonna hop off the stage and give it to somebody else, but just wanted to just give a shout out to you guys and all of the team members that we don't get to see more publicly. Love everything that's going on here. Love the community, and really appreciate, Dork, all of the culinary adventures that you post, because it makes me feel that much better about my own life choices. And with
Dorks.
that, I'm out. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Yeah, somebody had to go through the CPI to figure out that pork chops are down like 10% year over year.
Oh shit!
I
Dorks
let
porks
go.
are about to get a whole lot more spicy.
Is that what we're calling them? Dorks porks?
I thought so. Yeah. I'm just gonna create a thread for Dork to share his various pork chops.
Put it right below Pickles Picks.
Yeah.
You know, at some point I will get back on the Dorks Dunks. I haven't picked a Dorks Dunk in a while.
When was the last one?
We don't want you to
What
do
was
that. We
it?
just want you to post pork chops and feet pics.
At the same, like, feet on pork chops?
No. Feet in picture with pork chops. Like you've been doing.
Okay.
You've already perfected it.
Okay.
The product doesn't need to improve.
Baby
Just
Mama
needs to
Fight Club's
continue.
about to start using a straight razor, but not confident if they should use it downstairs. Well, there's only one way to learn, and I can promise that you'll learn very quickly.
This is why everyone gets 2 balls.
Yep.
C-Mill asked about the delta flip and gamma flip to time entries into 0 DTE positions. And someone pointed up at it.
Is C-Mill a pigeon whale? When did that happen?
Sure,
C-Mill's not a pigeon whale.
Well, somebody else, yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
If a pigeon whale asks it, we'll answer it.
Yeah, this isn't for the pores. This is for the pigeon whales.
If none of the pigeon whales care about that, then, they just won't ask, and that'll be that. Okay, Jaffo, a pigeon whale, has the same question.
Oh, what are the odds?
Oh, Jaffo, now you know how I feel in this fucking group, okay?
Oh, wait, Dork, how tall are you?
Oh shit, yeah, that did come up.
How tall am I?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to know.
Okay.
The fact that you
I'm
haven't
5'10".
Are you really?
Something like that.
What does that mean? Plus or minus what?
I don't know.
I'm a fucking genius. Everybody I hired is shorter than me.
Wait, is that what this
Here's-
is about?
Here's what's blowing my mind. I think because like we've had this really like toxic father-son dynamic, I just assumed you were shorter than me. But I think you're like an inch taller than me.
That's gonna
Oh,
be so
shit.
weird in person.
Yeah, I don't think I could handle that. It's like the day that dad realizes that the kid could beat his ass.
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't gotten there yet, but I know it's coming.
Ooh, Saber, a pigeon whale, actually had a question. Gex flip versus GN and the time frames it's measured on. So gamma neutral and the gamma flip are not the same. We've kind of been over this. One is based on OI, one is based on intraday volume. And so, you know, there's some other more elusive differences, but that's the big one. The GN, as you're looking at it on the chart, is the entire chain, all expirations, and we're using the overnight OI to as part of that calculation. The intraday one is like, well, just volume. It's just where we're estimating the market maker's 0 point based on volume.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much a good summary of that. We can talk a little bit about what that means if people want.
We could without, yeah. All right.
Well, I mean, just not like how it's built, but I mean, essentially, you're looking at the biggest difference between using OI and volume is that OI has bought sold baked in, right? Whatever's open, or sorry, not bought sold, open closed baked in. So you know what fraction of the volume in the past was opened and what fraction of it was closed, which is pretty valuable. So the neutrals that are based on OI are generally considered to be more accurate in terms of the assumptions that we have to make. We make fewer assumptions, but it is slower moving. So if you want to use, so what the intraday one does is based on volume. Yeah, it's more inaccurate because we don't know bought sold or open closed. So we don't know both of those things. But it's based only on information intraday. So it's based on very short-term information. And so if you're looking at the intraday time frame, it can be useful at least to give you a very quick sense of what's being traded where.
Yep.
Yeah, and the question on that's probably going to be like, oh my god, why is it so accurate? Well, that's just because we're super awesome.
Yeah,
Today
we're
was
just
a fun
great.
day. Today was a fun day, right? Because we're kind of back up near the top, back where everybody's kind of happy, and so we just kind of hit like bulls protect, negative gamma, and just kind of pop it up to zero delta.
Yeah.
Just a little back and forth on that bad boy.
Can you use the delta flip line and gamma flip line to time entries into 0DT positions? If so, how would be the right way to do it? Well, I'm gonna tell you the first thing.
Can I say my technical thing, and then you can say like your trading thing? Because
Sure.
I'm not really a trading strategy guy, but the caveat is, and these are things we're working on, but this is going to take time. But the caveat is, there's lots of other things being traded that affect the S&P's price that you're not taking into account by just looking at the S&P. So the boring, or maybe the dry engineering answer is yes, you can if it's on a day where the index is largely moving based on short dated contracts on the SPX. It becomes more problematic if, say, for example, let's say everybody and their mothers shorted 0DTs on the SPX, and all of a sudden in the middle of the day, news drops on NVIDIA and it sells off 5%. right? Those indicators aren't going to be very useful for that event. Now, they could tell you things like where the bottom of that might be when the people who just got burned try to save their positions. But those are things that come with time and experience and understanding what all of the data in aggregate is telling you. You know, people really want, you know, some simple thing where, you know, I have some buy sell signal, but the market has so many inputs. The expectation that you can get an edge on the market with one output is, I think, a little bit wishful thinking. You kind of have to take all, and we talk about this all the time. It's like, oh, well, how do you know? Why do you think it's going to go up? Why do you think it's going to go down? And we go through every page and we talk about all the data. So in general, you know, looking for that indicator that's like, oh, can it help you time things? I'm sure there are strategies where you can get well over 50% success using the indicators. I don't know what they are because I haven't sat there and back tested and done all that. So maybe maybe Gert can chime in on that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, I can chime in on the trading of it. So, I mean, where the market maker is neutral is more about, you know, where mean reversion is likely to occur. You know, if you look at kind of the intraday shape of like gamma exposure, you'll notice that very often, and you guys have been using the live data for some time now, so, oh, son of a bitch, hold on. My video card like refreshed in the middle of all of this and or like updated. So everything I have is like not loading properly. And I need to reset my computer, but let me see if I can fix this piece of shit. Okay. So you know, you'll notice when you're looking at the live data very often, you know, you'll have a large amount of gamma exposure on one side of spot, a large amount of gamma exposure on the other side of spot, and spot kind of trades in between those 2 points. Sometimes that range is fairly tight, sometimes it's fairly narrow. But spot really likes to run up to the big one and then kind of flow back towards the other one. And it'll generally do this multiple times throughout the day. Now, somewhere in between those, you're going to have those flip points. And so it's good for defining like kind of a middle line between the bullish and bearish positioning. Again, on like Jay first said, on days where you have where you actually have these values close to where spot is, which is not always the case. And so yeah, you can kind of use them to figure out like where momentum is likely to pick up, but I don't think they're a very good trade signal because very often the participants in the market fail to achieve, you know, either positive or negative value. And we kind of stay pinned to where the market maker is hedging things out to zero, like to where the market maker is in fact neutral or has no exposure in this case, not actually neutral, but has no exposure. And so like if you were to use this as a trade signal, like you can see in the very early parts of the day, it would have been completely useless. We just traded between the two over and over again. And then there was, you know, a breakout to positive delta, which wasn't held. And then, you know, we attempted to go back to negative gamma, which also wasn't held. And then, you know, positive delta again, negative gamma, positive delta, negative gamma. And so we kind of ebb and flow between those points. And, you know, bulls were pretty weak today, but that's not always the case. Like very often, you know, sometimes bulls will be strong right from the start of the day. You'll open above where the market makers, you know, positive on delta, and price will just continue up, you know, and that delta 0 point will stay roughly where the market opened. It doesn't always necessarily climb up with with spot. Sometimes towards the end of the day it'll move up a little bit in conjunction with that, but very often we can trend very, very far away from these signals. And so, yeah, I'm not really sure they're a good measure of, or they're like a good trade signal, but they can be very useful. Like today, where I had price targets that were out of the money, and I used those levels to confirm those targets. Like earlier today, I had a bunch of puts that I'd over leveraged into, and falling to delta, like falling to where delta was negative and then falling to where delta was gamma, were very good signals that I was going to continue to get a continuation on those, and I can continue holding them. And when it started to bottom out around 59.30, where the actual resistance was, looking at the gross or the net gamma on that strike, that's where that support level was. That's where I closed them. And so, yeah, they can help in that regard, because if everything's kind of flowing in one direction, it's very likely to keep flowing in that direction. And so they're definitely a good momentum indicator, but I don't think they're a good trade signal. Anyway, I've talked that to death.
No, yeah, that's pretty bang on, right? They're decent support resistance levels once things sort of start to shake out, but especially at the beginning of the day, there's a whole lot of like volatility crushing that has to happen. The gamma curve has to kind of go from being really flat to being more narrow. And during that period, that's why there's that increased volatility at the beginning of the day, because market makers are trying to hedge off that gamma exposure that they have, like just right at the open. So, yeah.
Bring back Jfresh's jerking sounds. I heard that.
Those are my jerking sounds.
Oh.
No, they were his. I just tried to steal them from him.
Oh, okay. It seems crazy to me that Jfresh is the technical analysis guy. I just took the technical analysis as hand waving, but he doesn't seem crazy. I mean, there's parts of TA that are hand wavy, like pattern recognition in TA is pretty hand wavy, but support and resistances are really important because they have a lot to do with pricing and mean reversion. So, like price analysis as part of TA, that's actually very relevant. People drawing little triangles and waves and fractals on charts, those people are morons.
I'm not going to tell Gherk about my moonlighting as a TA expert.
I already know.
Oh, Jesus.
No, Mike, sorry. Well, welcome to the stage. Could you go over how you would forecast underlying price movement after a lot of delta and gamma falls off the chain? For example, there's a lot of options falling off the Fubo chain after tomorrow. Maybe that's not a great example since the recent activity, though. Well, it's not a great example because of the recent activity. But Fubo's chain is starting to normalize to the strikes that were opened. And, we're starting to get, what kind of looks like a fairly normal gamma curve. Although, we're very low on it. Or it's just fucked up. Is this your fault, Dork?
Is that Fubo?
Mm-hmm.
Look at Fubo. No, the gamma curve on Fubo. The gamma curve for a stock. Wait, what's that?
That's
Does the IV get all fucked up?
no,
Is it HV?
yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, because it went up like fucking 300%. Yeah.
Yeah, the
So
HV
that's
is
no wonder
super,
it went up a bunch.
super
It's
messy.
just broken because it's not broken. It's just that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
But so the gamma curve, it just looks weird because Fubo doesn't have a ton of strikes. And we calculate that gamma curve at each strike to kind of, just because it's more useful that way. You know what the gamma levels are if the price moved to, this strike. So it'll look kind of funky, especially on something like Fubo with so few strikes.
Do you have to be a
But
pigeon? Just raise your hand if you want to talk.
yeah, you just try the odds, right?
Yeah, so I mean, as far as forecasting what's going to happen when that delta falls off, it's really hard to say. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Um, I love that name. Um, it's hard to say because first of all, a lot of things are going to reposition. A lot of those in the money calls that are now very deep in the money are going to get exercised. A lot of institutions are going to reposition their long-term positions on Fubo and their hedges following the leap expiration, which is, as you know, tomorrow. And so I mean, you can figure out how much delta's falling off. You can figure out where on the chain that delta's falling off, what that might do to affect price action into the following week. However, some of that delta is also going to get replaced, and so I mean, I would probably take a look at it over the weekend after the expiration and see kind of how everything's shaken out. And then instead of trying to make decisions about it on Friday, maybe try to make those decisions on Monday. Generally speaking, large amounts of in the money delta falling off is not bullish. The decay from those options is very supportive into the expiration, right? They're all in the money. They are decaying towards 1.0 gamma. Do you have the SPSIRE on your tool? No, definitely not. And so the absence of that delta could allow price to move more easily to the downside, but the spots it's like the strikes at spot have a lot of longer dated interest. I mean, they definitely don't have as much, but they still have plenty, right? There's thousands of calls out on next week and out in Feb and Jan of 2026. So there will still be delta, and the chain will just have to shift around to accommodate that. I would say that more likely the majority of the open delta on the chain is going to shift towards where spot is now. And it will become more supportive around the current price. Is there an easy way to
Yeah.
determine how much of an impact options have on a particular stock? Well, going and looking at the OI, going and looking at the gamma curve, those can be two really good ways of figuring out how affected like how much the tail wags the dog. We have the options macro where you can kind of see what stocks are most affected by their options chain right now. I think we do the top 20 or 15 here.
Do the top
Um,
20.
top 20. Yeah, these are the top 20 stocks on, any given, we update this every day. These are the stocks with the most delta as a percentage of their total market cap. And this tells you that the underlying like XRT is moved into the number one position. It's very, very, very driven by its underlying options chain. IWM, Upstart, SPY, MSTR, WFRD, QQQ, Beyond, TLT. These are all, very, very high options interest relative to their total market cap. And what we do plan on doing in the future is kind of adding a ranking to each stock where every day we just sort all the stocks in the database by the total delta as a percentage of their market cap and just give them a ranking number. And that way you can see if the stock you're looking at, how affected it is based on its rank relative to all the other stocks. I don't know when we're gonna get that implemented. It may be a while, but I don't think it's very hard to do, and it'll probably make things a lot easier for you guys. But we do have the top 20 there, and every day for you guys to look at.
Yeah, and you could do the napkin math yourself too. Like for if you have a particular stock that's in the top 20, just go check out the DEX. Look up the stock's market cap, and then you got a decent idea of how influential the options chain is going to be. Another good thing to look at is, like Eric said, the OI. If you multiply that OI by 100 and compare to the total volume, you also get a decent idea, like their average, like daily volume. Gives you a good idea as well of like how liquid the options market is versus the equity, like the underlying market.
Is there an easier way to determine how much of an impact? Hey, Quants, do you have to raise my hand? Yes. Yes, you do, Greg. It's an index. I know it is. But we don't have all the indexes. There's so many. It's high time for you to show us those voluptuous calves. Is this the new UI that Gherkin is streaming supposed to be released? I've seen this UI on previous login session, but it's not the way GammaStrike looks now. This should be the way your GammaStrike looks now. Are you going to the correct website? Oh, yeah, so some of you used to be pigeon whales, and then you decided to quit being pigeon whales. And so you don't get the beta updates, but I will put the link for the new site in chat, and you can log in there. Fuck? What's wrong? Why can't you talk to us, Greg? Don't be a shy guy.
Oh, it's because he got 5 shares.
HTTP shouldn't have quit.com. What the fuck? How long has this been a thing? Like 3 days? Just make it free and steal my internet data like Zuckcock. Yeah, if there was a billion of you guys as users, we might consider that.
That's all it takes, guys.
Yeah, just get a billion of your friends to sign up and give us all their personal information. And then yeah, GammaStrike could be free.
Yeah, sure. We'll go with that.
You guys could totally take out data and have an even more sophisticated version of PFOF so we could front run degenerates.
Front running is illegal.
No, it's not. That's literally what high frequency trading is.
Well, okay, yeah, but like, yeah, okay. I mean, look, we're not billionaires, okay? It's illegal.
You've been hanging out with Popcorn Trader too much.
I know. Well, he thought
Can
front running
official
was
news on
sending your trades
GS
via
be
fax.
sent to our emails? It seems more appropriate. No. I mean, it can be
Not yet.
eventually, but not yet. We don't have any of that set up.
We're working on account management stuff, so like if you want, like we can make things that like make sure you're on email lists.
I also
stuff.
put it in
That's all kind of in the
announcements.
works.
I put it in announcements on the Discord for everyone to see. Like 2 days ago when we launched it. So it wasn't like the former pigeon whales got left out. I just wanted to make them feel bad for abandoning me.
Okay.
What happened to the best motto I've ever seen? Data so good you don't know what it means. Someone has failed to update that on the new website. But
why would you change it? It was so perfect.
I don't know what it even is now. Oh,
It's home of the G-scan indicator, and I'm like, what the fuck is that?
what? I mean, I know what that is, but I hate that.
Yeah, no, I know what it is. Okay, it's not that don't just what? Why?
I don't know.
Why would you do this?
I want to know who's responsible. It's probably Nuke, and then I'm gonna feel bad for being angry about it because he's so busy.
It probably was Nuke. Yeah, and he's gonna cry. Sorry, Nuke.
FFs, I could have been making money all week. Wait, don't you have a job, Dave? I thought you were a doctor. What are you doing all week?
Well, he's day trading while he looks at weens. I figure that's what he's doing. He's like, wait, hold on. Yeah, that's a weird lump, but hold on a sec. I gotta get this stop set.
CentaurFeetPorn.com is my home screen. Dork, stop being such a champion for us poors. You're part owner of a finance business. You now exist to fleece anybody with a moat of gullibleness. Yeah, we're not great at that. Now who's in a parasocial relationship? Oh, Carl has a question. It's been mentioned Gamma Max tends to be a theoretical max a stock will go up to. How do you know when a stock that's brushing up against Gamma Max or breaching it is done, i.e. Tesla or Upstart? So it's not the maximum price a stock will go up to. That's kind of a misconception. It's the point at which the market maker stops hedging more gamma to the upside. So, I mean, the price can still be driven higher, and frequently on single name equities, it is. On indexes, yeah, it's a theoretical max, but that's because indexes are driven by their options chains, like CBOE indexes. They don't have an underlying to trade; it's all options. And so, yeah, the gamma max there is kind of the max. But yeah, on underlying like the underlying components of the index or like individual equities, um, they can frequently and frequently do exceed gamma max, especially over the last year where we've seen dispersion going kind of crazy. As long as delta continues to be added to the chain, then the price can continue above gamma max. And sometimes, when you're seeing like uh like a complete repricing of a stock, like Reddit or GME or Fubo recently, and new strikes are opened up, the stock will stay above gamma max until the options chain starts to normalize and the distribution moves out to those new strikes. And so that's definitely something you've seen with Tesla recently. It's something you've seen with Upstart, where new upside strikes are opened, and Gamma Max is still kind of left behind spot. And one way to know like where that point is, where the new point is on the new chain, that's that theoretical limit. Like, let's say, is Tesla above Gamma Max right now? It's not. Maybe Reddit is. Reddit likes to float up there. Also not. Carvana? Carvana is. So we could take a look at Carvana's gamma curve. And it really is, in fact, like over the peak point of gamma. And so any moves to the upside from here on Carvana, gamma is actually going down. But what you will see is that there's going to be delta up in this range that's supporting that price action. Right, so even at 240 and 250, there's still quite a bit of delta on the chain to the upside, and that's kind of what's holding things up or stabilizing shit. And so, as that delta falls off or decays away, it can start to fall back through those strikes, or just people taking profits. So something I would look for is total delta and gamma on the chain to begin falling off. So look for that total delta to move back towards zero, or the skew adjusted delta to move back towards zero. And that might be an indication that things are starting to break down and that profits are being taken. And as those profits are taken, the options chain is again going to normalize around the new spot, but also, price is likely to go down. G-scan for those who can't find the G spot. Haha. Nice.
I'm a G scan.
What the fuck is JFresh doing?
He's probably yelling at his kids.
No, I'm trying to replace a pump on my washing machine. We
You
already talked about this.
son of a bitch. You're doing that right now?
What do you think all that noise was?
I just thought you were jerking off.
What? Okay, yeah. Yeah, do you guys need me? What's up?
No, you're fine. I mean, we're just
You're doing great.
We're just
I'm listening. I'm
Yeah, I know.
listening. You're doing great.
Thanks, man. I needed that.
Yeah, keep going. Don't stop.
Oh, here you go, JFresh, while you're under your washer. The fuck is Moneyness?
Oh, it's just like, well, okay, actually it depends.
Oh no.
No, the easy answer is depending on what you're looking at. It's either the spot price over strike, or strike over the spot price. In the case of Moneyness on the macro data, which is what I assume you're talking about, it doesn't make sense to do one of them. So let me refigure out which one it is. I always flip them. In that case, it doesn't make sense to do spot over. No.
Mm-hmm.
High moneyness is out of the money for call, so that would be strike over spot. Yeah, strike over spot. Is that confusing enough? So like it's like 6,000 over. Let's say it's, what is it right now? 59.50. Be a number a little over 1. I need some feedback. Was that
Can you just
acceptable?
say it's the relationship between the current price and the strike price?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's that.
I like the way that we do it because
There's not many ways to do it.
I mean, if you look at
it's monotonically increasing to the
Yeah.
as price or as strike increases.
Yeah, it's more natural that way. Sure.
Yeah, so moneyness of 1.1 would be like 110% moneyness, which would be spot times 110%.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to everybody? That's what, like, I feel like that's a kind of easy way of doing it based on, well, at least how you're being exposed to moneyness on those charts.
Mother, there's another screw. I'm going back in.
All right, go back, get in there. I'm just imagining his little leprechaunic face popping out from under a washer, and it's just making me feel giggly.
I'm just imagining his butt crack
Yeah, I know you are.
a mile deep. I could probably throw a pencil in that thing and have it stick.
You could get your pencil in there.
Are
Are there any indications in either IV or Charm that indicate a good point to start selling calls after a test of Gamma Max on the index? Or just close your eyes and start getting into the sell position? Gamma Max is very infrequently tested on indexes, first of all. So let's kind of look at that. I'll pull that up here. if we're looking at Gamma Max on SPX, it's basically almost never tested. Anytime we get within like 3% of it, I try to sell calls above it as much as I can because, generally speaking, we're probably not going to get any closer to it. But on SPXW on the weekly contract, Gamma Max can get closer to spot. Spot can also very briefly exceed Gamma Max, which some of this in the past gets repainted due to how we handle the Greeks and noise reduction. But there are moments, and they are very brief, like here in May, or there was another one here, I believe, in June. I think there was actually one day recently, just one, yeah, right here on November 8th, right after the election, where we were above Gamma Max on the SPXW. But yeah, I mean, for selling index options, I just sell above that for calls, like on the call side. And, generally, if we're moving into a positive gamma environment, and we get a little bit of supportive gamma, we didn't today, but had we gotten a little bit of supportive gamma today and had DN and GN ended up in the money at the end of the day, or deeper in the money at the end of the day, I would have probably started selling puts there. And usually, 14 to 30 to 45 days out. Usually I'll sell the calls with more theta, the puts with less. Calls above Gamma Max are, just generally not as risky as puts below delta neutral. But they do carry a little bit of risk if the time frame is too long. And so, but I usually close them when, I've gotten like 50 or 60% of the premium back in returns. I've been selling, how long have we had? Like, Jesus, I started selling calls above Gamma Max back when I was like DMing Yelia for GM on SPX or SPY. It's like even before we built like our first models of it, I was selling calls above GM. I don't think I've ever been hit on one of them. The returns aren't fantastic, but if you can sell naked, it's pretty decent. How many derivatives of gamma can I be tantalized with? As many as you want. Oh no, Dork.
Yeah, Gamma
I'm
Max is nice.
stuck in the washing machine. Oh, and there's a leprechaun fixing a washing machine. In rainbow pants.
Nice. Are there Greek mins? There are, but like they're ridiculous. Like I'm trying to think of like Gamma Min. That would be like in an apocalyptic meltdown situation. That might be where you'd find the bottom. Like that would have to mean like everybody is buying as many puts as they can and selling as many shares as they can as hard as they can. They might be able to get it there over the course of like 2 weeks. And if it was just nonstop,
maybe
absolute pandemonium.
Maybe something like going bankrupt suddenly.
It'd be like if all the G-SIBs got margin called at the exact same time. You'd end up at Gamma Min.
How far out in time are you selling those calls above Gamma Max? 14, 30, 45 days, usually. Usually between 30 and 45 days. Are you selling naked or 25.50? It depends. Usually naked, though. Naked on the call side, wider spreads on the put side. Sometimes naked on the put side, but only if we've, like, sold off really heavily. Like if we've tested like delta neutral on the SPX, then I might sell naked puts. Those are scarier. Naked puts are a lot scarier. Even though they technically have a limited loss, whereas, you know, naked calls have an unlimited loss. You're already naked, me too. Generally, when you're selling puts near like SPX delta neutral, volatility is very, very high. So the risk reward's a lot better, but you know, the chances of the market just continuing down from there are still pretty high, and there is range for the market to move below delta neutral, and we've seen it. We gotta really go back and look at like 2022. But there were times where the bottom like completely fell out of the market, and you know, we were 10, 12, 13% below delta neutral on the SPX. These are, you know, this is very much like definitive of a bear market. Not too
period below DN, and GN is definitely bear market territory.
Yeah, not very common nowadays. We haven't even gone under delta neutral except in August since 2023. And even in August, it was for like 2 days, 3 days. I think the third day we closed above it.
Yeah, barely 2 days. That was a silly little move based on a slightly weaker jobs report.
Even naked strangles are scary. I don't have portfolio margin yet to do that. I'm trying to learn more for the future. I mean, the only really scary thing is like big overnight moves. Otherwise, you should have all the time in the world to hedge them off. Gherkin, you mentioned FTX was spicy on the Sunday stream. What did you see on it that raised alarm bells? I don't remember. I can take a look at it now, but I don't know if it's changed much. Oh, it had kind of bounced back above delta and gamma neutral. And I think on the Sunday stream it looked like it was yeah, it was starting to climb back up. Delta and total gamma on the chain was also turning more positive. It ultimately failed that test at VN, but I mean, if you'd gone long on it Monday morning, it still would have gone up. I don't know. What's our open close data on these? 74 to like 80 something. So like $6. Not great, but had it broken back above VN here, that might have been kind of spicy. I know that there was a decent amount of out of the money gamma to the upside, so you know, the potential for it to get above, if it had gotten above 80, you know, 80, 90, or even like 300 would have been on the table as price targets. I went up $20. Okay, there you go. Fuck, can you zoom in on the VN bounce? Yeah, I don't know what the high was for that day, but probably pretty close. Oh my god. Yeah, I know. We're pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm like,
I'm doing so much data entry right now that it's mind numbing. But if someone would raise their fucking hand, I would actually have a conversation with someone. How about somebody raises their hand while Jay Fresh is gone, so that way he can't answer.
Some
'Cause I
dumb
want to.
skater. All right, you're up. What did you see today that led you to buy the 25Ps and then diamond hand them? Thanks, by the way. It led me to 6K. There wasn't any support below like 40, all the way down to 25. So I knew if we lost, and I didn't know if we would, but I knew if we lost 38 at some point during the day. And it did look like it was weak enough and there were enough out of the money puts that if we lost 38, it was very likely that the price was going to fall and get close. It didn't actually test 25. I think our low was 30, and then we got that big rush of support came in. But yeah, there was a very good chance of testing the 25 level. Some dumb skater, how you doing?
Pretty good. What's happening?
Not much.
Also, I'm not gone. I'm here. I will chime
yeah.
in when I need to.
Yeah, we got you.
Dork said I was gone.
We got a few people lined up now. This is cool.
Sweet.
You see, JFresh, I lack object permanence, so as soon as you stop talking, I think you've fallen off the face of the earth.
What does the guy in Wizard of Oz say?
Don't look behind the curtain.
No. I mean, yeah, I don't do that.
If only
but
I had a brain.
yeah.
All right, so I got kind of a basic question here. How can I use GammaStrike to set up support and resistances?
You can, well, I mean, you can use. So, all right. Intraday or long term?
Long term.
Long term. I would use your neutrals. I mean, obviously the stock's not going to entirely trade within the neutrals, but they should give you a pretty good idea. So maybe like if you set a line at the neutral tests and historically, that might give you a pretty good forward indication of where those major support and resistance levels are based on positioning in the options market. Now, positioning the options market, positioning the underlying are kind of, especially on individual equities, are going to be a little bit separate from each other. But I mean, you can like here. I'll try to show you here on FDX because I have it open. Like if you go back here to what date's that? December 5th, and you have that nice juicy delta neutral test. And then you kind of extrapolate that support resistance forward. It kind of gives you support and resistance through the bump out here in, December, right? There's quite a bit of resistance at that level in December. There's also quite a bit of resistance at that level today or yesterday. So, that might be a really, and same thing here, like the failure of GN or even the test of GN the day prior. And you extrapolate that out. Right. That could be a really easy way of, setting up where major levels are in the options market, which tells you, where there is a lot of interest. Generally these neutrals over time will kind of sync up with where the majority of interest is in the market. And, delta and gamma neutral really measure the interior of that interest, where Vega neutral and gamma max are kind of measuring the tails of that interest. And so, I mean, yeah, that could be a really good way of deriving support and resistance over the long term on various stocks, and you could do that on the SPX too. I can pull that up here, and if we look at prior big like DN tests, like right here, obviously this is a very important level moving forward. VN test here, that's probably going to be important someday. Hopefully not anytime soon. And then the highs and lows of those channels as well, right? So those will be relevant levels, and they are. Like you can see how the high here in the Vega neutral test has also been resistance. Both well, and actually all three of our bounces, well, the last two of our like kind of bear rallies in this downtrend have found resistance at that like 60-30 level, which was the Vega neutral test back on November 11th.
Oh, awesome.
So I hope that helps. And then I mean I can go a little deeper into that and say like intraday. If we kind of trim the SPXW down to just the 0 DTE, you can do it there too. Hold on. So you can use this slider to remove expirations on the right. And you can look at the net, and you can kind of identify where, and I usually try to do this when I do these at night, but you can identify the major levels of options interest, and these are going to be both resistive to the upside and then supportive to the downside. Now, when you have the live data, those will fluctuate throughout the day. And, gamma will expand into close like this. But, if you think about it, like 59.60, that was kind of our upside resistance for today. We spent a ton of the day trading right around that 45 level. And then, we found support down here at 30. And that's, pretty much where all of our trading occurred today, was between those three levels. So another way of identifying supports and resistances with on the 0 DTE as well.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Can't wait to get my hands on it.
No problem, man. Catch you later. All right, let's see what we got next. Moped. How you doing, man?
What's up?
Hey guys, how's it going? So I'm joining like in the past 15 minutes, so I might have missed some stuff. But my question was about 2 points on Wednesday that were interesting. And the first was like when we had that afternoon dump, can you kind of like walk us through like how you use GammaStrike to like see that opportunity and like how you confirmed your confidence in that move? Like, was it just like the game of flip point or like the live dashboard? Like what was the thought process on how you like analyze all that?
Are you talking about today?
No, Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
I don't remember what trades I took on Tuesday. Let me go.
Me either. I remember I made a little bit of money, but it was a really good opportunity.
Oh,
There was like a dump like in the late afternoon. There was a dump, and then later there was also that butterfly opportunity. I don't quite remember the specifics.
okay, so there were. I mean, I vaguely remember the trades. I think I was. I mean, I think there was like support had been pulling away. There was some profit taking going on, and like total gamma under spot was reducing, which is usually what you see when you're seeing some in the money profit taking. And I think if I remember correctly, I went like short the high test. And then we had a bit of a failure down to like 59.16, maybe. That sounds really familiar. I think that was like where we found this support level. So part of that was like the technical levels. We opened a little high, I thought, for the CPI print. So there was some macro analysis that went into that. But also like we'd opened like way above the market maker's expected move. And generally given a normal distribution, you're not like, that's more of like a mechanical play than like just GammaStrike alone. And so, like, I mean, obviously, the information you get on GammaStrike is going to benefit a lot from your intuition and your knowledge of like how market participants behave. Of which, you know, yeah, I have probably more extensive experience. So yeah, some of it's intuitive, but also like, yeah, I mean, Gamma had started to pull away with, you know, below spot. There wasn't a lot of support to the downside because we'd blown through all of the bullish positioning on that like 144 point move to the upside in the overnight. And so without more positioning coming into the upside, like a lot of positive gamma coming into the upside, price is just kind of left there. Almost like if you'd been above gamma max, you get into a situation where the market maker is just not really hedging any gamma. But if the price moves down, they're going to dump their hedge. And so that's kind of the situation we're in. And so I was like, okay, well, you know, there's nothing else to the upside. I'll just buy a put here. If more interest comes into the upside, I'll close it. Otherwise, I'll just sit in it. And then, yeah, it dumped. So I do remember that one. I know at the bottom of that, I then sold in the money puts. That's just because I saw other people selling in the money puts. Those actually didn't end up printing at the end of the day. I ended up like 50 cents off of my close target. And they expired, you know, worthless. Or well, they expired worth, you know, their max value. So that while that did work out intermittently and there was an opportunity for me to close those for profit, I didn't. But yeah, I mean, I was just targeting where the market participants were, you know, throwing a lot of gamma on the chain to the upside. And after we'd fallen, you know, generally after price drops, the bearish positioning shakes off a bit. And that means that if you move back to the upside, there'll be less resistance to that upside move, and there'll probably be more out of the money interest because those options got cheaper. And so I sold, I think it was like the 50 and 55, or I sold the 50. Yeah, I sold the 50-55 bull put spread. And yeah, we ended up going back to 50, but that was kind of the thought process behind that.
Cool. And also, I think it was the same day. There were the iron butterflies or so, like in the last 10 minutes before close. Was GammaStrike a part of that? Or was that just sort of just your past experience and sort of intuition? Like, how did you decide? Oh, I think this is a good play, even though it's like 450 a contract, you know, credit. It printed pretty good at the end. I'm just curious
Yeah.
about your process.
So as you move into an expiration, like the end of the day for the 0 DTEs, wherever spot is, gamma at that point is going to expand exponentially. And that kind of pins price to that spot. 1 second, please.
So are we still just on like using flip points and exposures to figure out sort of confirmations, that kind of stuff, support resistance, breakdown confirmation, that stuff? Because I've been copying and pasting like a madman.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. It just seemed like there was an opportunity where basically there was a very high reward to risk ratio, where it's like, you know, it's like 450 a contract, and the butterflies made sense, and then they printed. So I'm trying to understand a bit more about the process that went to that. Because I mean, if you do that right, like once a week, that basically pays for GammaStrike at the high end subscription. So it's very very appealing.
Sorry, I missed
No,
that.
yeah, of course. Of course. I mean, so one thing to look at if in the ultra short term, so you're talking about intraday trading, right? So if these short term trades, the
flips, the delta flip and the gamma flip especially, are sort of like your support resistances, and they do define also breakouts to the up and down side. So like if you see the index, like let's just use today as an example, right? You see at the beginning of the day that the index really kind of reacts violently to going below the gamma flip, right? And so you could start to consider that a support, right? Especially after the 1, 2, 3, like there's just so many tests of it, right? That ended up with a bounce. And so you're like, okay, that's a solid support, right? If it breaks down from there, it's obviously going to be pretty gnarly, but odds are not really in your favor. So you could use that support, right, as a way to early in the day sort of set up an ultra short term short vol position. Especially after like the third test, right? If there's a fourth and a fifth test, those are sort of those opportunities that you're kind of identifying where your risk reward is lower. As the day goes on, though, that gamma flip point becomes a little less impactful because
that depends on interest.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, if there's a lot of volume on the 0DTs, that's not going to always be true. It can actually become, and like if the interest picks up, like if there's an event, it can become more impactful after the event, like FOMC or something like that. That's like midday.
Yeah, it's true.
Because you might get, another billion in gamma on the chain, or a couple billion in gamma on the chain following like a big event. So I wouldn't say that, but it does. He is right. It does define like a short vol opportunity mostly because everyone else is shorting vol there.
Yeah, it does seem like there's times where Gherk, you seem very confident in a closing price in like the last 15 minutes. And it could be different than that point you put in Pickle Spec. You just seem very confident in that and just trying to understand a bit better on how that, conclusion comes with the data just to like make a play.
Yeah, so I'm not entirely sure that the data gives me all of that, but I definitely analyze the data to get some indication towards that. And then, I make my own assumptions about, where I think we're going to close based on both the data and what I think, kind of parts. I mean, I spend all day watching the Bulls and the Bears kind of duke it out, right? And you get a really good sense of their strategy over the course of the day, what they're targeting, what they're aiming for, their long-term goals. There's very important levels further out and further expirations that are very important for Bulls and Bears, and getting to each of those targets is a process, right? And so kind of weighing the risk reward of the various participants in the market and determining where they would most likely want to see it close, and then where the MM wants to see it close. And the MM wants it to close, well, basically where they have no exposure. And so, like the delta and gamma flip kind of present an ideal range for the MM for the close price. But we're not always near those, right? And so you got to kind of factor in that, especially when we trade very far away from them, which happens on any trend day pretty much. And so you got to kind of look at positioning around spot and determine which levels are going to be resistive, which are supportive, where price could be pushed. But it's still a guessing game. I mean, even with the data playing, like, I might be more right more often than I'm wrong, but that might just be experience. Because those last, like, 15 minutes, like, kind of everything goes out the window. And definitely the last 5 minutes. Because it starts to get out into, like, tomorrow's positioning and how the market maker wants to set themselves up for tomorrow's open, not just today's close. And so price can shift based on, where the market maker is going to be exposed to gamma after this expiration. So that's like one factor that can do it. you could have, you know, a gap. If there's like a gap within maybe one or two standard deviations of spot going into close, participants might push for that. Right. And ultimately the market maker is flexible. They're going to move with where participants are trying to push the price. And you know, sometimes you'll have like a big resistance and, you know, like a couple tests of it and you just get profit taking like we got at the end of the day today. You know, we kept testing that 55 level where all those puts were sold. But every time we tested it, they just kept closing those puts, right? And it happened multiple times today, and it's what triggered their first big drop. Was they were just like, oh, we're going to take some profits, and they kept taking the profits from that level. So it was, you know, really unlikely that we closed. That's why I got that hedge at the end of the day today, because it was really unlikely that we were going to close above 55, even though that's where like my exposure was to the upside. And so on that last test at 55. I sold that in the money call for a drop into close, because I figured if they take profits here again, we're gonna just slip because there's no more support.
Well, gotcha. This may be a tangent, but like, have you guys like considered like, it's called RAG, like retrieval augment generation, where you just put a bunch of your context into an LLM. Like you basically you put like all the pickles picks and all the write ups and sort of all your thoughts into it, and it just sort of kind of spits out what it thinks predictions are based off that. Is that something like you've kind of toyed with it at all? Do you think that has any sort of merit, like with the tool, like kind of down the road?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I could.
Let me ask you a question. What is the logic and reasoning it uses to create an output from that input?
No, that's a very good question. I guess the way I frame it is that the LLM, it is what it is, but if you throw enough context in there and enough sort of here's my like approach, here's my rationale, maybe it gives you a better output. I don't know for sure in terms of this particular scenario, but it was just a thought that I had.
I mean, historically, machine learning has been terrible at predicting markets. They're a chaotic system, and so, you know, using any kind of like neural net or machine learning tool to try to predict the market has always been generally a failure. I mean, they've been trying to do that since the 80s and it's never really been successful, and it's not more successful now with large language models than it was with neural nets or machine learning. They still do use them for like statistical analysis and stuff like that, and you know, like I mean, like a Monte Carlo. But I feel like you'd just be getting a random return on the information given, and that doesn't really mean anything in the context of a market that's constantly changing and dynamic.
Yeah, I think it's fair to leave it at that. People have tried this technique for a very long time. There's no reason to think that LLMs will be unique in that sense. There are also a ton of services that are offering AI suggestions for trades. Go nuts.
Yeah, fair enough. I just figured I'd ask because again, I mean, Pickle Picks has worked well if you take the appropriate risk, and I'm just kind of curious, like if you fed all that stuff into there, would that make some sort of impact? But it is what it is. So it was just a thought.
I mean, we could make an LLM of Gherk from his streams, and then he can just berate me all day.
Ooh,
I'm kind of down for that.
sexy.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's definitely not something I'm interested in doing in any way.
Fair enough. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
No problem, man. Thanks for hopping on.
Yep, appreciate it.
Dunkston, you had your hand up. Are you still there? Get your hand back up.
So much effort.
What's up,
My
dude?
hand fell asleep.
Greg ran away.
So, question for you guys on the data that you guys are collecting and aggregating here. Do you have any connectivity yet or any plans in the future to cross-correlate futures where there's an overlap, such as like ES versus SPX?
Okay, so yes, I want to do that really bad. Because they're obviously, the relationship between those is extremely important. However, CME is a bit of a bitch with their data. And so until we're a lot bigger, or at least
You need an
substantially
ISDA?
bigger. Well, no, we don't need an ISDA, actually. We can get the trading data, and the options data and all of that from CME, but it costs an arm and a leg. Probably, I think even if we weren't sharing it with people, it'd be like 15K a month just for us to look at it, and then distributing that data gets very expensive very fast. So we'll have to get a bit bigger, but when we do, yeah, I definitely want to get futures in there.
Yeah, because one of the holy grails, well, yeah, my background's trading futures, and then I
Yeah.
got into securities later. So kind of the holy grail has always been if you can tease out where these neutral points are, particularly if you ascribe to the idea that all the markets are interconnected. And so at the end of the day, there's basically a max pain that CME, whoever's making the market you're in, they kind of want to get back to their minimum exposure point.
Yeah.
It could definitely matter if you can start to tease out where the rainbow options are at and where they're transmuting it into, say, they're cross collateralizing into commodities contracts and where the hot points are with that.
So I will say one thing that at least I know from my own experience. When you're getting into like exotic options in the close, when people are trying to like play off of the closing imbalances, those exotic options contracts notionally tend to pale in comparison to interest in the underlying markets. So like you might get like a spread of rainbow options over like 3 potential closing strikes for SPX, right? And maybe you have like somebody big in there like Merrill or JPM or something, throwing like, a couple $100 million at that. But on the SPX in the last 15 minutes of the day, you also have, like 50, 60,000 volume as dealers who sold JPM those options start selling options to hedge the rainbow options off. So even though we don't have the CME data, we can see the other side of that exposure and the other side of that trade directly on the SPX.
Interesting. Yeah, the one that definitely, I guess the other question I would have is as a follow-up too, because I mean, oftentimes in Billionaires, we end up having this discussion where people start losing their minds at 11:30 Eastern in the morning every single day, and it's like London is closing, guys. LSE is wrapping up.
Yep.
You're seeing the reversion to mean because of LSE. Stop losing your minds.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting to see. I don't know if you guys have enough data where you could actually start to see the flows if it's coming in like from
We do.
like when London's closing. You can see that.
All of our live data is time and sales. So we're using the every single time and sale, like every single contract coming in or going out, to generate our data.
Interesting. Do you have you guys looked at providing any sort of interface to try and parse that so that you could look at that on any time scale?
So we are probably going to get some flow metrics in eventually, but wiring all of that up and stuff is maybe going to take us a little time. We have a lot of tools that we want to add. We have like probably like 20 different tools that are just like under development that we've like partially completed and kind of set aside so we can get closer to launch, because R&Ding all of that stuff, ensuring that we have the data feeds for it, and then ensuring that we have the infrastructure to handle those data feeds, which is by far the hardest task of all, requires capital. And so I feel like we've got enough now that it's a very viable and usable product. And as we capitalize, we will start adding those additional tools like unusual options flow. We want to get some live volatility surfaces. What's some other stuff we're looking on? Live skew. We're kind of looking into. I mean, you'll have options flow, down to the time and sales level if you want it.
Eventually, one day futures, but also looking at correlations and things live between stuff. I think there's a lot more we can do besides just a correlation index. There's tons of cool stuff we can do.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's more things that we want to build than we have built.
There's a lot of things that we want to build. So many things.
Yeah, like we can build live correlation between the S&P underlying and the index. And we could, potentially track dispersion intraday.
Yeah, you could. I also have been thinking about
instead of having like 1 month correlation, right? You could look at 1 day or 3 day or 5 day. Fuck CBOE, you can.
I want to be able to very quickly say, oh, hey, the reason that the market just went up, that SPX just went up, 20 basis points is because NVIDIA just, somebody just dropped a bunch of calls on NVIDIA, those kinds of things.
Well, sounds like you guys are pulling enough data too. And again, this matters less for the securities equities side probably than the futures component, but it would be cool. You guys, it sounds like you have the data where you would be able to like start to calculate the rate of change whenever like in the oil contracts, we're backwardated right now, but when you have those changes from backwardation to contango, you actually usually there's a ton of money to be had either in the arbitration at that point in time, or you can play, there's going to be a hard reversal in short order because they'll either reject and snap back to the previous price distribution, or you're going to see a fundamental paradigm shift in the market. So
I will say that oil can be backwardated for way longer than volatility.
The oil market could stay retarded longer than you could stay solvent.
Especially on oil. Nothing like having $100 a barrel oil for an entire year, and everybody has to keep pricing up the contract in front.
I made good money off that. Thank you very much.
Just are you short the long end right now?
Might be just a little bit.
All right. Well, let's just hope Trump doesn't fuck everything up.
Oh, that's a guarantee. You're just gonna have to figure out which sector is gonna be the loser.
Yeah.
So okay, if you're looking also at building more tools such as skew, is it going to be something where I don't want to say there's a paper trade function, but are you going to allow us to basically play with the numbers a little bit, basically mess with the correction factors to see? Because sometimes you do essentially like on future side, I do like surface analysis and like sit there and play with it to see where you might start to see a distortion in the strikes across the expiries.
Yeah.
Particularly if you want to start playing the calls and puts on CL.
Yeah, you gotta kind of be reliant on your broker pricing on that though. So I will say that unlike all of the other tools that we've encountered, we calculate all of our own volatility. We calculate all of our own pricing in-house. Versus, like unusual whales, which just gets, they're getting a collated report and they're just using whatever pricing they're getting from SIBO or from Opera. We're calculating all of those values on our own. And so, yeah, there's a chance that we could allow people to fuck with like the smoothing and stuff on something like skew. But it's, you know, probably going to be most accurate at the base calculation.
Yep.
Because we
Interesting.
are doing all of the calcs in house.
Yeah, well, UW is frustrating because it really only it shows you with zero context because it also actually has block orders that have already been aggregated. So if like the options orders got dark pulled through Citadel Connect, they just come out as giant block orders, and then you think, oh, whale has just all of a sudden thrown their pee in the pool, and it's like, no, that was like the last hour of order flow just got dumped all at once.
There was actually a really cool thing. I don't know if you were here for it, but it was like a couple weeks ago. When we were moving up from like 5,800 and like 5,880 or so, and we got like a big squeeze to the upside, and like everyone was kind of freaking out, like, oh holy shit, like what happened? And we ran up like 100 points from where we were trading. And there was like a synthetic short at spot. And what happened is somebody placed an order for 75,000 puts, bought at the 5,900 strike, and then they canceled it. And that's, I mean, 75,000 put order is fucking monstrous. Like, you don't even see orders that big in a crash, right? Especially on SPX, like maybe on like ES or something like that in a crash, but not on SPX. And somebody canceled it, but it showed up on our data because we just use the raw time and sales, and so like it was like us, people looking at Bloomberg terminals, and some like dudes at pod shops were like, "What the fuck is this order?" And it had gotten canceled, but the market maker had already hedged it off. Right. And so
you actually got to see them pre-hedging before they even closed or tried to execute the ticket.
Yeah, so you can ask Willie about it. He was DMing me through the whole thing. Um and so what happened was like we hit our high for the day, and then the market maker rolled back their hedge, and we just dropped like a fucking rock. Like right back to where spot was at the end of the day. So that ended up actually being pretty cool. But yeah, no one else uses time and sales, so all the other data services, nothing, because they don't know how to manipulate it.
And
Yeah.
finally, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it's kind of one of our big. The cool thing about what we did by taking it upon ourselves to not trust any data providers' numbers is that now, right, we can be given a minimal amount of data and come up with, a full suite of things off of it, purely from almost nothing, right? Purely from what the market is determining is the value of certain things. It's cool.
Yeah, like we can still, even if we get bad SIBO data, which usually takes down everybody, and it happens way more frequently than it should, right? But like sometimes those end of day reports are complete garbage. Even if we get that, we can, because we're doing our own in-house calcs, we can interpolate a lot of the forward values that we need to. Which, from an error handling standpoint, is pretty huge. I mean, it's essentially the same setup as if we were a pod shop, right? We're handling all of our calculations and all of our models internally because you can't trust anyone else.
Yeah, that's something that JFresh could probably look into, because that's just going to be a signal processing challenge, because you can actually detect when you're going to start getting bad data and essentially buffer your previous data, and you just basically, you'll just persistence forecast if that ends up happening, but at least you won't just like have all your models start throwing NAN values all over the place.
Well, so you're saying I should calculate the Shannon entropy of the rate of data flow?
Yeah.
Those are
Sounds like I
words, and
should.
half of them I understood, so I'm gonna have to plead the fifth here.
Well, because then you could figure out your like limits for the maximum amount of information you could actually have passing through the pipe and all that fun stuff. But anyways, I digress.
Yeah.
In the 3 days of market crash, we have to worry about that. That's the last thing we're going to be worried about.
guys, the Shannon entropy dumped. Whoa!
Awesome. Interesting stuff. Look forward to seeing what what comes out of the beta process. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Dex.
Oh yeah, for sure,
Good
man.
talking to you,
Yeah,
man.
we're excited too.
I hope your daughter's
We're so
feeling
excited.
better, by the way.
You wouldn't know that she was almost gonzo.
That's
So
awesome,
we're
man.
very
Glad to hear
thankful.
All right, I'll see you around. Greg, you had your hand up. Or I thought he did.
He must have wussed out.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
you can't see my chair again.
Super cool. Lost 10K. Cool. I mean, if you'd held those puts, you wouldn't have, though.
Ugh. Let's not be mean to Nuke.
I know.
Poor Nuke.
It's okay, Nuke. I lost like $7,000 on it also. But what was important is that we got the data.
Yeah, exactly. You see, we don't even know the value of those data feeds, all right? We are still discovering that. So you could say they're invaluable.
I hope it's worth more than 14K or 17K to me a Nuke lost. But
Oh, Nuke, we found a bug. When you post the link to GammaStrike,
it's not a
say
bug.
data's so good you don't know what it means. It's a bug, all right?
All right, who's climbing up here? Come on. Chop chop. Let's get some hands up.
Yeah. Put your hands up.
Any update on the launch timeframe? Early access options for the Dillionaires. So there will be early access to the Dillionaires, or soft launch, really. We're aiming to get that ready towards the end of this month or in Feb. And you know, we've got a lot of user account management and payment stuff that has to be set up to make sure that everyone's onboarding process goes smoothly, but we're on it. We're working on it actively. And you know, we'll keep you guys. We made a lot of progress these last couple weeks, and we'll keep you guys updated as you know, we do these every week. So you'll get a pretty clear launch window when we're ready to give you one.
Yeah.
How many Pigeon Whale
I've been working
users
on
are there
stuff.
currently? What do we have, like 130 something users right now?
Just something like that, yeah.
Something like that. Over 100.
Someone asked about how I'm doing on the washing machine. So the update is I got stuck. Unfortunately, I got the thing out and I replaced the motor, I replaced the pump. But I can't get it back in through the bottom, so I have to go in through the top and take the front panel off, which means I have to disconnect it from the membrane. And I don't have a tool that get the spring off, the spring ring around the membrane. So I'm stuck. So I'm back.
Welcome
Sounds
back.
like working on a car.
I hope your kids don't get into all the loose washer parts that you've left all over the place for the next 3 days till you get the proper tool to get out the clip and get the spring out.
Hold on.
Because that wouldn't be hysterical. Needle nose pliers for the spring.
Yeah, I wish. The problem is that the spring is like, it's needle nose isn't gonna work. I have to get like a, because it has to be expanded, and the places where I'd put the plier ends are too far apart for pliers. You literally have to have like this weird tool. I looked it up.
You need the little ring puller
Yeah.
with the like little,
It's
yeah.
like, it's just a little, it just defaults to open, so you squeeze it and put it in place, and then you release, and it like
Yeah.
pops it open, and then you can get the ring out.
Snap ring pliers. Yep,
Is
there
that
it
what
is.
it's called?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
by the
but,
way,
like, really big ones.
did you get fucked while you were stuck in the washing machine? Just for science.
No.
You know, there's someone else who I'm not going to name names in chat who got stuck in their washing machine recently. I don't. I mean, I don't know who it was, but they got physically stuck in their washing machine.
Did you ask the same question?
No, but you're a slut, so I figured.
What the hell?
Oh, hey, shit! It's Dave. Oh, Dave.
Well,
Guys, get your questions ready. We're gonna save so much money on.
Okay, yeah, no,
Yeah, we're gonna save
hold
so
on,
much
yeah.
money on medical insurance right now.
I'm pulling out my wiener right now.
Yeah, get a picture of it. Send
Yeah,
it to
I've got
Dave so you can do
several.
some live analysis.
I have some close-ups, some macro shots. You know, I get good lighting. No flash.
What's
It
up,
has been
guys?
out the whole time. What's up, Dave?
Not much. Just sitting in traffic. Good times.
Hey, Dave, how you doing?
I'm okay. Long day of dicks.
Yeah, yeah.
To usual.
oh man. Yeah.
So,
Are California dicks more tan?
I
I know you got up here to ask us questions, but that's not how this is gonna work.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I don't really want to get into racial stuff, man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't.
Tan,
Alright.
not like, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mean were they ethnically tanned. I mean, do you notice that a lot of your patients have been sunning their dicks?
Have I seen some dicks? For sure.
Okay.
Well, how many melanomas have you spotted on a dick?
Ooh.
None, but saw some pretty gnarly warts today.
Ugh,
Nice.
God, that's terrible. All right,
Well,
we can move on to your actual question.
Damn it.
So I've been a little bit absent from some of the weekend streams lately, and just wanted to talk a little bit about the different areas on the meatball indicator and how you use them to, you know, screen a stock and you know what you use in GammaStrike to evaluate whether that's something that you make a pickles pick or whether you throw some money at it, or how you look at that.
Are you talking about like the gamma curve meatball or the like scanner tool?
The scanner tool, yeah, the G-spot, whatever you're calling it now.
The G-spot. Yes, that is exactly what it is called.
Get in there and change the name of that, please.
Never be able to find it.
So I will answer your question on my end in just a second. I gotta run out to my elevator real fast. I'll be right back.
Oh, anybody want to help me find these retaining ring pliers on Lowe's so I can get this shit done?
It's
Buy
called
some cheap
blows.
ones on Amazon. They'll be
Yeah.
there tomorrow
They'll
morning.
wait that long. No, they won't. Not here.
Move somewhere good.
Yeah. AutoZone. Ooh. See, they sell the needle nose like, you know. Why is it so hard? They sell appliances. Why don't they sell the tools to fix appliances at the place? Anyway, what was your question? Sorry, I was just thinking about all the dicks you looked at today.
That's fair. No, my question
Oh,
was just about
G-Spot.
the G-Spot scanner.
What about it?
Which of the, you know, regions in it, the bearish consolidation, the bullish consolidation, the breakout, which of those things you're looking at as important for something that you're looking to, look deeper into with, gamma exposure, et cetera, to, pick a stock that you're going to throw some money at.
Yeah, so maybe I can just give you an example of like the things that I look for as I'm just trying to evaluate it. I like to look for opportunities to sell Gamma Max. So what I'll look for is a bearish reversal. In that case, you've already turned around and are going down. So in some cases, you might be too late to catch good range from Gamma Max, but you can check it. And if there's no good opportunities because those are all too late, that probably means there's an opportunity at bearish consolidation might show a similar trend, but not quite have turned around enough yet to be a bearish reversal. You can also look at if it's been at Gamma Max for a long time, it might be a bullish consolidation. Right, so it was going up and now it's flat and it might go back down in a little bit. So I look at those different areas to try to catch a reversal at Gamma Max at different points of that process.
And so are you going into to look at gamma data and adjusting date ranges to see where, gamma is changing?
Are you
at a
saying
certain point?
in the indicator, is this built into the indicator or?
No, I'm saying once you have picked one of those stocks, are you going into, the gamma by strike and,
Yes, I
playing around
am.
with the dates
Yeah,
to,
so you have to do more. I mean, this is really just to try to find anything that might look like a fat pitch, but you're going to need more information before you can. You can't do anything with just that data alone. So usually, what I'll do is first thing I'll do is go and look and see how close is it to Gamma Max and how much range does it have down to Delta Neutral. Because just because it's turning around doesn't mean it's close to Gamma Max. A lot of things are right now because everything's just kind of, we're at the top of the second largest, maybe the largest bubble of all time. But that's not a guarantee that there's actually that much range. You have to go look at other data to assess what that potential range actually is. So it's just a thing to look for. Hey, these are the stocks that are doing fun things, and we try to sort them by. There is a sorting mechanism in there by how far away it is from Delta Neutral and how much potential range it could have for the kinds of moves you'd be looking for.
so that
So
that shows the right is the distance from delta neutral or the
yeah. So
formula.
okay. So it's weighted by two separate things. It's weighted by the magnitude of the move that it's seeing, right? So we're trying to eliminate noise because you can read, you can read triangles in any noise if you look hard enough.
Yeah, you have a penny
Um,
stock that goes up 2
so we
cents.
have a weighting factor in there to suppress noise and highlight things that are actually moving a lot. And then we also weight it by its distance from Delta Neutral, depending on whether you should be looking for the stock to go up above Delta Neutral or the stock to go down below Delta Neutral. So it's just a way to kind of say these are the stocks that are doing something and the stocks that are that have potentially fat pitch setups for a move based on the neutrals.
So I can kind of weigh in here too. Like last night I picked almost directly from the G-Scan tool for the pickles pick this morning, which was AGL. So AGL in the prior close was trading just above Delta Neutral. It crossed over. It was showing up, I believe, not on our bullish trend, but I think it was like. Does anybody know where it was last night on the chart? Anybody has access? Like when you looked at AGL this morning on this, do you know where it was? It moved. I know that it wasn't. I don't think it was on bullish trend. It was somewhere else, and it's been there for a little while. But like I clicked on it because it was highlighted, right, and I was like, oh, I'll go take a look at this, and I kind of just wanted to throw it in pickles picks for fun because I don't do fun pickles picks anymore. I always just choose these like really high certainty um like trades where I've like eliminated all of the risk by hedging off the other side of the trade, and that way people can't be like, I overheld and got blown up, because if you overhold you just like net to zero. um but
Hold it on bullish
I
consolidation. That's kind of what it looks like it was doing before today.
oh, okay. So it moved from bullish consolidation to bullish trend.
Yeah.
Okay. And so yeah, we definitely need that. Technically, LMT printed. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it didn't print, but it just netted back to zero because it tanked, right? Um, Thankfully, that hedge was there. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of get back to like the pickle jar's degenerate roots and find something with like 5-cent contracts that would run. And so I was taking a look at this last night, and like I clicked on it. It was right at delta neutral. Price has been improving pretty steadily. I went and looked at the news on it. It's gotten some upgrades recently. A few people say they have it overweight, but a few people raise their price targets on it, so that's semi-bullish. It's been picking up delta and gamma on the options chain. Picked up a little bit more gamma today, but it lost a little bit of delta but today it broke out, I think, like 13.5% or so at its peak. From or maybe even a little bit more from open because it dropped it open. And so yeah, I looked at this. Obviously, the crossover of delta neutral was a big part of that decision, but also gamma neutral rising really steadily with the increase in spot was very interesting, as was the rise in gamma max as spot has been moving up over the last few days. Something else I looked at was, where's the positioning on this? Like, where are people selling puts? They're selling a lot of puts at 250. And if you go further out, they're starting to sell a lot of puts at 3, and possibly someone's selling some puts out at 5, like down out towards the end of the year. So someone's bullish on this, right? There's some out of the money gamma to be realized, and delta doesn't pick up a ton to the upside. But there is a ton of delta on the $5 put. And so I figured, a breakout at delta neutral is probably going to give a little bit of momentum as the upside options are repriced. And I figured, a $3.50, maybe $4, and at best $5 price target was kind of all on the table. If you take a look over at the gamma curve, you can see that as price moves up from spot, it picks up quite a lot of gamma going into the $4 strike. And then gamma falls off a little bit at 450, but then it picks up quite a bit again at $5. And so if you can kind of start getting over those humps, as price improves, it's going to become more and more stable at those higher and higher levels. And then lastly, I took a look at volatility and, what's vol doing? Vol was coming down on the 30, but vol was kind of increasing out here on the IV10. And so that, a lot of short dated bullish positioning, but, probably 30 days out, people are selling more options on it. Today, the IV10 fell off really hard with a big sell off into the end of the day after it ran up like 15%. But, we're now seeing like some longer dated volatility move up. So, it might be that people are repositioning to the upside of delta neutral now that it's in a positive delta environment. We're going to see more bullish positioning come in. And so that's kind of how I used it for that specific one. But yeah, all of them I'm going to go in and I'm going to dig through the why. Like, why is this stock below delta neutral? What's going on with it? Why is it being sold, or why is it being bought? Why is it being overbought? And then I'm going to, extrapolate that into the options positioning and see what, you know, the options market is kind of saying about the forward price of the stock.
Dad, I have a question.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
I gotta dip out, guys, but we'll do some dong talk sometime.
Awesome. Drive safe, dude.
Thanks, man.
Later. Oh, we got Baby Whale Nuke.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome to Midnight Radio. Can I have your request?
Long time lurker, first time caller. Don't
Nice.
have pants on.
Ah, spicy.
Promise any cool features or
What's up?
promise cool features or did everyone say everything's perfect? We love it.
I haven't promised anything yet. But Dork found a bug.
Uh-oh.
It's
What
a
is
it's a pretty serious bug. Probably should look at it pretty quick. So, you know how when you paste the link to the website in, like, let's just say Discord,
Uh-huh.
what happens is in that little tiny little box it makes there, it no longer says data so good you don't know what it means, and instead it says home of the G scan indicator.
I mean, if it said
goodness.
home of the G spot, that would also work. But
This is
Nice.
pretty major. So
Yeah, certainly.
top of the list, right?
Yeah.
absolute
I
highest
gotta bring
priority change.
my dad onto the next one. I said that in stream today, but he'd be like, "Hey Glorp, how do I sell covered calls best?" Did we already go over that?
A little bit.
Nice.
But I can go over it again. Don't worry, I've been going over covered calls for 4 years and no one knows how to sell them yet. So I don't mind explaining it for 1,000th time.
Yeah. Nice. Were there a bunch of questions on live data?
Yeah, few. There was a
Good.
few.
Good. All right, let's just checking in, see how it's going.
All right. Good to
Yeah,
see
pretty
you.
chill. Woo.
How to exit them when underwater is more complicated. You just roll them down. Or buy a put. Sorry, I didn't mean to use the technical term, Carl. You buy it back and sell it again.
Well, what? But you're assuming Carl has enough cash on hand in his brokerage account to buy it back. And
That's
you're
what you
assuming
got.
He hasn't used that to buy SPX puts.
That's what you got the credit for. Yeah, after I found out that Cobra sold his long-term holdings today to buy puts on SPX, I now believe the degenerates are capable of anything.
Oh, so he bought puts. I gotta buy calls. Shit. My bad.
They already printed. It's too late.
Well, fuck.
Yeah.
Well, good. I hope people are making money and enjoying the new product.
It does seem
Cool.
they are.
Yeah.
Thanks for making it, man.
Yeah, it wasn't just me.
I know, but
Yeah.
you did make a lot of it.
Yeah.
Dork made all the balls and the vast deferens, but you made the cock.
Yeah. You know, all these quant office hours are. I don't think anything's gonna come to as close as how hard I laughed at old man buff Santa putting his balls in the sink.
I was dying of that.
Dying. Dude. That was funny.
We can't beat it if we don't try.
That's true.
That's true.
Well, now we need the peener doctor looking at the green candle that you've got between your legs.
Yeah. More
But
than one.
I don't know what I assume Dave is a very handsome very tall, ripped, bald man, like Mr. Clean.
Because that's the only man you'd let handle your junk, or is this Freudian? Is your dad tall, ripped, and bald, Dork?
No, but I wish he was.
Burke, are you really 5'10"? I still haven't like fully processed that.
I'm 6'3".
I don't know.
Man, you're tall.
Honestly, I'm a little below, but they were like, I kind of give myself the extra leeway. My girlfriend doesn't believe I'm that tall either, but then I
Can you
stand
get
next to her, and
her?
then she's like, I'm not. Yeah.
Can you get her to measure you for me? It's very important that I know how tall you are.
Is this Freudian?
I don't know.
This just has to do with if JFresh can talk to you in public.
Oh, I see.
Because
Like,
because if you're like bigger than him, after all the shit he's put you through, he's at like there's like a lot of real life danger in meeting you.
Well, like he also doesn't know that, while he was doing his math decathlons in high school, I was doing wrestling and football.
And HGH.
And HG creatine.
How much creatine are you on right now, Dork?
I don't know. What's the standard unit of measurement that you use?
Fistfuls.
Oh, yes.
Excellent.
Every time I fill up my water bottle, I just put in like I don't even know how many. I don't even count. I have like a 55-gallon drum of it, and so I just like kind of like Salt Bay. I do that into my drink.
I just keep like one of those hamster bottles filled with the raw powder next to my bed. And I just lick it in the middle of the night so I can get like extra doses of creatine in.
I do have to get ripped before I meet Jay Fresh in person though, because that way he can be
It's like
really
50
upset.
pounds before I meet you in person.
Oh, look at that.
JFresh, me and you will start Quant Fitness.
Quantness?
Yeah, that way when you meet Dork, you're just absolutely ripped.
I don't know if I can handle that. I almost died trying to take this washing machine apart. Okay, here's a question for people. Can I get away with like compound long reach needle nose pliers and just go the opposite way of a snap ring pliers? I need something in stock, and I'm willing to put a little bit of elbow grease into it.
You can go to like any mechanic and have them remove the snap ring for you.
Then I would have to literally put my washing machine in the car and take it to them.
I mean, you could just buy those at like Home Depot or AutoZone.
Yeah, I still have to check AutoZone, but they don't. What I need does, because it has to be fairly large.
There's actually so there's a way to do it. I just forget how. How big are the holes? Can you put screws in it?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it doesn't look like AutoZone really has it either. They're not big enough.
Oh yeah, Dave's got a point. The hemostat might work. You got some little like those little things. Freaking
What? Oh, what now?
They're like little tiny little like pliers with like a little curved like nose on them, and like really really long like arms. Like you've seen them
Yeah,
in
I
surgery,
know.
they pinch
Okay,
you.
I know. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't have those, and they're also not big enough, like the medical ones.
You need two of them then for the extra leverage.
How does that work?
or one of them and a screwdriver.
I mean, I've already
Wait,
tried to
your
cam
wife
like
is your wife is a vet, and you don't have a hemostat sitting around?
at home.
Yeah,
Why?
because your wife doesn't steal office supplies.
What would we do with a hemostat at home?
You have kids, dude.
What do you think a hemostat is used for?
I don't know.
It's
Fucking
used
pinching
to
an
like,
artery.
yeah. How many of my kids' arteries do you think are exposed? Slivers? You just use tweezers.
You use to close your kids' mouths.
All right, well, I'm gonna have to do this on my own. I think you all are put so much work into all of this, all of these tools and things, and the one time I need help, you don't pull through. I'm so just my disappointment is infinite. Ooh, I have a Granger in town. I wonder if I can get some there. Oh, Harbor Freight. That might be.
Usually you can get like if you have some like extra machine screws that are the right size or Allen keys, you can kind of wheedle them into the rings and squeeze them together manually. Like if you have a couple thin like 3mm Allen keys or something, or like 1mm, you can like kind of slip them into the two little holes and use the Allen keys to squeeze it.
Problem is, it's not a squeeze. I have to expand it to get it out.
Same deal. Just pull them apart then.
Well, yeah, I already tried something like that. It's not working.
No.
You could take a sledgehammer.
Oh,
and destroy it.
hold on. There was like something that I think I think I saw my uncle do it one time with Ziploc, like zip ties. Like he like put zip ties through the holes and then just pulled it apart.
Ooh, that's a good idea. I might try that. That's a really good idea. I'm gonna try that. I could also lash together two long metal rods and use leverage that way because I can make my own pivot point.
There you go.
Jay Fresh.
What's up, Grackle?
Hey, I don't know if you guys are talking about Granger, but there's a website called McMaster-Carr.com.
Yeah. I've probably spent over $100,000 there.
Yeah, I mean, I order for.
I love
They
that
have
place,
everything
but I
and
just-
next day
yeah.
delivery. I mean, they're fucking unbelievable. But yeah.
Yeah, I guess I could. I've never ordered for personal use. It feels so wrong, but I'm desperate, so I'll take a look. You're right.
Yeah, I mean,
should've
I get everything from, size 6 screws to, traffic cones for
Yeah.
fabrication manufacturing companies. So
Actually, Nuke, and other quants who I don't want to name if they don't wish to be named. If you guys want to like poke around the McMaster-Carr website, it is actually one of the best websites of all time, and it's like 100-year-old company. But in terms of just how it loads, how it functions, how it never changes, and it just always works, it is fantastic.
Sounds like a Bloomberg terminal.
thank you, Jay.
Yeah,
Jay
it kind
Fred.
of is.
I've been telling people this for years.
Yeah.
They used to send us the book, and it was like something you would kill an intruder with.
Yeah.
But their website is just fucking phenomenal. It is the canon of websites, if I have to say, as far as
it loads so fast, and there's like, it's got to be 100,000 different things you can buy on there. You can find them all.
Oh, yeah.
It's a joy. It's a pleasure. Anyway, this is the content I'm sure everybody came here for. We don't have to talk about my washing machine anymore. I'll figure something out.
He's got to go the other way, Bert Stu. He's got to pull it apart, not pull the rings to. He doesn't need to pull the ring together. He needs to pull it out.
Yeah,
Did
I
you have
think
a
what I'm
Did you have a
probably gonna do-
question, Grackle?
No, I was just gonna recommend McMaster-Carr. Now I can't figure out how to get the fuck out.
I got you.
That basically
Thank you.
describes this entire cult. I came in here to say or do this one fun thing, and now I don't know how to get out.
Oh no, I never want to leave, but I'd like to get out of the voice chat so I can go to sleep.
Well,
No way.
There
We're
goes.
sleeping with you now.
Is anybody else going to ask any questions, or are we all done for the night? Oh, Mighty Morphin SPX power spreads. What was that? Mighty Morphin Power SPX spreads. Oh, it's Dega. Is that the White Ranger? Rip Tommy. Snap ring pliers would work, but he needs really big ones. Also, do you have any wire? Do you have any, like, copper wire?
I have a lot of ideas now. I think between wire and zip ties and
Alright.
lashing together two metal poles, I should be able to get the leverage I need without driving myself insane.
If not, slap the washing machine in the sex chair, and that'll give you the leverage you need.
Yep.
Do you have an air compressor, some anal beads, some WD-40, and a willing participant?
You know, I do. Does a I think it's an airsoft gun, manual 3-stage pump.
Is that spring powered?
It's me powered.
Meat powered?
Three compression stage, and I don't own an air gun, so what am I doing with it? Goes up to like 1,000 psi. It's great.
Well, you could use one of those then, potentially, but I don't know how you're going to get the same sort of purchase on the anal beads when it's time to actually expand the ring.
Oh my god, am I going to hear Popcorn Trader's voice tonight?
Is he raising his hand?
I'm not ready.
No.
I'm not ready.
God damn it.
Dega.
I'm not ready.
Yeah, what do you got for us? Sorry, we were going off on tangents again. We have attention deficits.
We never do that. We never go on tangents.
Yeah, we're super focused, people. You know what I think is the shining star of our brand? Just how family-friendly we are.
A little something for everyone.
Yeah, you know. It's a great...
All the way down.
If you're watching this with your... If you're watching this with your kids or your little barrels, you know, worst case, they ask what something means, and then you get to teach them. It's a teaching moment.
Yeah. It's a safe environment to learn very uncomfortable and strange things.
I don't think my mic is working. Oh, shit. It's weird getting microphones to work on Discord and on mobile.
It is.
All right, just type it in chat. I'll answer it. You came up here. You did the hard part.
You're very brave.
It's not a brave. It's not like we just admonish everyone who comes up here.
I mean, okay, yeah, you're right. We
Just some of them.
I think we're usually kind to most.
Yeah, we're like the nicest people ever.
I feel like we're very patient too. Like we might give you shit, but we'll still answer your question.
It is true.
JFresh is struggling to do anything practical because he's too much of an academic. It's okay. We're getting him some grant money. We're gonna get this washing machine fixed.
I'm not. Okay, dude. Dude, I know they're just trying to get a rise out of me.
They are.
But we get so unfairly painted in the media. We get lumped in with actual do-nothing academics, and we don't speak up for ourselves. We just kind of let it happen, and it makes me so angry because it's so wrong.
I saw that wheel you guys have been building for a couple years.
Yeah, that will dox me. Be careful. There's not too many people doing that.
Building wheels?
Well, what the wheel is.
I don't know what the fuck the wheel is. All I said was wheel. Don't worry, you're okay.
Okay. Yeah. We don't know how to do anything, which is why people come to us when they want to solve the problems that nobody else in the world can solve. That's all I'll say.
Oh shit.
You can put those pieces together how you wish.
He has a certain set of skills.
I'm gonna fix this washing machine.
Oh shit, Dega dropped his question. So we have 3 Greek neutrals, essentially. Intraday, weekly, entire chain. Okay, the intraday ones are not neutrals. We have to be clear about that. They are not actually neutral points. How are you using the intraday to manage longer term positions to hedge off your longer dated contracts? Well, I mean, as you know, I trade SPX and ES level by level. So I'm determining the range of distribution for the range that we're trading in. And if we move outside of that distribution, I'm going to start either moving or hedging anything that I've sold in the next range. And by breaking it up like that, I feel like it makes it a lot easier to manage. Well, I have to manage a lot of positions, so it makes it easier for me to kind of keep track of what I need to manage and where I need to hedge exposure off. So intraday, if we break out to a new level, I've got to take some time. Usually I'm on the stream, but I got to take some time and like go in and manage shit. But I mean, I don't really think the neutrals play a big role in that, because generally by the time we reach the neutrals or the neutrals approach spot, I've hedged off most of my exposure, like to the downside. Like as gamma neutral gets closer and closer to spot over time, which is usually an indication that bullish interest is pulling back and everything's kind of aligning at spot. And that's usually when gamma neutral is lost, is when it itself gets closest to spot. By the time it gets there, I've probably hedged off my like downside exposure. I'll be exposed to the upside, but not to the downside at that point. And so that's something I'll look for. I mean, anytime Gamma Max goes above my sold calls, that might be something I look out for. Usually spot's very far from Gamma Max when that happens, but it is something I'll watch. And it might also be like a time, like if we fall and I've sold calls at Gamma Max, and then Gamma Max starts to, Gamma Max will move away from spot as spot declines. And when Gamma Max gets above my sold calls, I'll usually close them out. But that's also around the time that I'm about 50-60% profitable on them. You guys were nice to me. Yeah, see?
Hold on, I got a dank meme coming. We gotta have a dank meme every time now. Hopefully I don't have to make them all.
Gherkin, wind down. Well, we've been... you son of a bitch. We've been going down for a while now.
Descending channel bullish. Woo.
Pretty, not in a straight line, because that doesn't usually happen, but consistently in a descending channel. Asking Gherkin on stream can result in admonishing. It depends on my mood. I even asked an AI question that was answered in an even-handed and respectful way. Yeah, that was, we struggled. We struggled with answering that one in an even-handed and respectful way. But I think, yeah, we did a good job.
Yeah.
Gherkin, if we have 3 green days in a row, it means for sure day 4 will be red, right? Because of probabilities? Or am I an American idiot? You know, every open is just unique. Like roulette. The ball can land on black 1,000 times in a row.
Yeah, you know how like if you flip a coin 5 times and you get tails every single time, what's the probability you'll get heads when you flip it again? It's a half.
100%.
Yes.
I'm glad to see Popcorn's feeling better.
Was he not? Did I miss that completely?
He got the flu. He's had the flu for the last 3 days.
Sorry, man.
I think with all of the insights and the pickle spike in the past 3 years, there are insights to mine from it. I will say that I would appreciate if you didn't post my analysis into ChatGPT. I can't stop you because you have access to it, but I would not like it if you did.
I mean, if you think about it, the likelihood that it's going to do something valuable for you is really low.
Yeah, I agree.
The much stronger likelihood of the outcome of it, of putting all of that information in, is you're basically giving away information for free. Giving away information for free destroys alpha. So you're only going to hurt yourself and everybody else by putting all this shit into LLMs. Because they're going to remember it and learn off of it.
Well, learn is a strong word. Randomly.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Everybody gets it's very hard to not do it by accident to anthropomorphize it, but the likelihood that anything of value will come out of it is very low, but the likelihood that it will be a detriment to you is higher than value, I think.
Can AI make analog clocks that don't show 10:10 as the time yet? All right, it seems like we've exhausted everybody's questions. I don't see anybody raising their hands.
Popcorn. He's too scared.
I'm almost done with my dank meme, so we have to stall for like 2 more minutes.
Okay.
Well,
I asked a question here, but cannot come on stage. Let me see what it is. Oh, I get that GS simplifies options the same way I know for X how to use a phone, while not knowing how the inside of a phone all works. But in general, why does increasing, in this case, negative gamma, create support? Oh, this was a good one. In this image, I would have thought maybe it is support, but only once the price passed through. Hold on, let me open the image. I would have thought this was support, but only once the price passed through it, say to 57.98. But instead we bounced off 58.05, a strike higher than the largest negative gamma at 5800. Also, say we hit 57.98, would negative gamma at 5800 potentially have knocked us down to 57.80? I'll re-listen to the Hot Wheels gravity discussion from last week. I also have a video kind of on that. Maybe that'll help clarify. Also, I'm sure that more experienced watching the live data will be a good teacher. Thanks for all of you guys do. V2 beta looks amazing. Okay, so yeah, we can kind of talk about this. This isn't very hard to address. So the rate of hedging as you approach a large strike like that slows as you go into the strike. And so many times you'll find that support ends up existing above the strike because that is likely the strike that is being sold. Like that's where everyone's selling their puts. And so if it hits like 5805 like it did in that instance or 5802 or 3, people are probably going to start selling that put again. Everyone else has been selling that put all day. They're probably going to sell more of it, and they're going to sell it before it's in the money. Now, if the price actually goes under that strike, then yes, it can start to push price down away from the strike. And so as you approach it, it is resistive. As you pass through it, it becomes supportive, and that's true for positive and negative gamma, especially large strikes like that one. And think of it this way: like the market maker's hedging picks up and then winds down as it approaches that peak, and then to the downside of it, the hedging picks up again. But at that strike, there's very little hedging being done because it's so much larger than everything else. All of the hedging's already occurred before that price was reached. There's like a good physics example here, like a gravity well. Wait, you're not stuck in the dryer though. I do like that you got the little calipers in his hand.
We gotta get the J-Fresh head on the dude's head.
Yeah, where's our picture of J-Fresh's face? With
The one with it scribbled out where he's holding the fucking NVIDIA puts.
No, the one where we put Farmville player on his face. That's beautiful, J-Fresh. Well done. And on that note, I think we could call it a night. I don't like how you didn't acknowledge my step recon comment earlier. Oh, I didn't see it.
That's really funny. I heard you guys. Yeah, I heard you call me a leprechaun earlier.
I did. It's what it is. It's your face is just so jolly, and no one here will ever know what your face looks like, but I do, and it's an extraordinarily jolly face. Like every time I see you, I have this irresistible urge to hide my Lucky Charms or find a rainbow.
It's the mischief inside of me that's always bubbling up.
It just glows. It glows through the sparkle in your eyes.
Yeah.
Have you ever read Laura Ingalls Wilder?
No.
When they talk about Pa, that's who I imagine you are.
I don't know who that is, but
he's their father, and he plays the fiddle, and he's got a sparkle in his eye.
Okay. That sounds cool.
Not Michael Landon. That was the TV show. Although, he never had to fix a washing machine.
I got so close, they made it so you could almost do it all through the bottom, and I got it apart and I replaced the pump.
Also,
I can't get the hoses back together through the hole they have.
How the fuck have you never read Laura Ingalls Wilder? You give that book to your kids. Like the whole series.
I've never even heard of it.
It's like Little House on the Prairie, Little House in the Big Woods, Farmer Boy.
Oh, I thought girls read that.
I don't know. We had to read it in school.
Girls' school?
Sure. There were girls in the school.
Yeah, that's close enough.
Classic Midwest literature. Just American classical literature, right? She has a museum somewhere.
Okay, well, probably never going to read them.
No, I don't remember that. You don't read it if you live in a real city. I read it because I lived in the city. And I was like, this is fascinating. Why would these people do this? Like living out in the woods and making their own food. Crazy.
Fixing their own washing machines.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, you know what? I just opened up an old window that I had open, and it's sitting in front of the CPI data for pork chops.
Oh, excellent.
I was so excited I told Dork I just like didn't finish my train of thought on the page.
I live in the woods and the city. Portland people.
Pork chops specifically are down month over month, are down 2.8%. That's insane.
Is that the one where they lived through a winter with no food? I don't think so. I called my wife pork chop the other day. She didn't appreciate it. Makes sense.
All right, it's been 3 hours. We need to stop making this 3 hours. I'm gonna lose my
Yeah,
mind.
we really need to make these 2. Well, you weren't here for most of it, so.
I was here the whole time.
Well, thanks for the emotional support. Win Cavs. Nice try. All right, that's enough. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you all next Thursday. Good luck out there.
Peace.
Woo!
Later, fellas.